I first heard about Big Brothers Big Sisters in 2016 from my mom when my family moved to Iowa City from a small town in northern Iowa that summer. Being from a small town, it was a big cultural shock when I first came to Iowa City. It was so much more diverse than my hometown, and much, much bigger. I felt like a fish that grew up in a pond that was suddenly thrown into the ocean. I spent the summer adjusting to my new environment and liked it at first, mostly because the Iowa City Public Library was bigger and had way more books than my hometown library. But everything changed when I started fourth grade. The kids seemed so much smarter than I about pop culture and technology, things I never thought about before. I tried to connect with them, but everything I did seemed wrong. Nobody was impressed that I was in the teacher's good graces, nor that I loved to read. It seemed that all they saw was my lack of knowledge about the internet, celebrity culture, and swear words. I tried to adapt to be like them, but ended up driving them away as my reputation of being a goody two shoes and a teacher's pet grew. I found myself isolating myself from them, and I spent my recess watching the students play, studying to find some sort of formula that would transform me into one of them. I found myself pretending to be sick to avoid going to school and lashing out at everyone who came into contact with me. My older brother was unsympathetic, and my mom couldn't seem to help, no matter how many emails she sent to the teachers and the guidance counselor. When she suggested signing up for Big Brothers Big Sisters, I was so desperate for an emotional connection that I agreed. Fourth grade came and went. Fifth grade started a bit better, but as I successfully adapted to my environment. My grades improved and I made two friends. I felt slightly happier and felt that I finally learned the social cues and rules of the school. I eventually forgot about Big Brothers Big Sisters, even after I did the interview to find a match. But I was finally matched with my big sister in May 2018 and finally met her on the 31st. I felt scared and couldn't really look her in the eyes. I kept staring at the floor and slouched over, trying not to draw attention to myself. Whenever somebody asked me anything, I responded to the floor or to the couch. Despite my nervousness, I was very excited. Here was somebody that was under no obligation to meet me or hang out with me. When she talked to me, she didn't talk down to me or with a sympathetic tone that I was accustomed to. But I had doubts. I was scared that she wouldn't like me or that she'll feel obligated to meet me every week and would wish to be literally anywhere else. I was worried that it wouldn't change anything and that I would still feel as alone and empty as I did in fourth grade. I pushed down all my worries as when we went out to our first outing. I don't remember what we did, but I remember that the first thing we bonded over was Shakespeare. I had recently read Macbeth and loved it, and my babe was impressed that I read it at my age. The next week, I mentioned that I loved to write and tell stories. An outing later, she gave me a notebook and taught me about the three-act structure. I was surprised, not only that because she liked to write too, but also because she cared that I did. My mom cared, yes, but she wasn't the type of artist to talk about writing and storytelling. My brother didn't bother to pretend interest and told me I was wasting my time and I should leave him to finish his book. The first month passed. I was still closed up. I chose what I shared carefully, thinking about what topics I should bring up days before we were going to go out to draw or write. I didn't want to say or do anything too strange, lest she should regret ever signing up for BBS. I don't remember when I started to stop worrying and open up more with my big. It happened slowly and organically, so much so that I had to sit back and really think about it while I write this. I believe that the big turning point was when my big took me to see Hello Dolly at Theater Cedar Rapids. We both loved that show for various reasons. I loved it because I was a big fan of Carol Channing and was once again surprised to learn that Big knew who she was too. I guess that's when it happened. I realized that my big actually liked me and just was as weird as I am. With that realization, I started to trust her more and share more. Officially, we were paired up for 4 years now, which is wild to me to think about. We've gotten closer over the years, and I've gotten way more comfortable sharing all the weird facts and interests that I have, such as things that I would have dreaded sharing in the first year. I can't begin to imagine all the things my big has done for me and taught me all these past 4 years. She introduced me further into musical theater and storytelling. She also gave me the courage to put myself out there and step outside my comfort zone. Just recently, we were watching Sunset Boulevard, and I tried pineapple jalapeno pizza for the first time. My big didn't force me to try it, but it was because of her influence over the years that made me want to try it. I ended up loving it and being converted to a believer that pineapple does indeed belong on pizza. She has made me feel heard and loved, as if we were really blood-related siblings. Like an older sibling, she has and continues to give advice on problems about life in general. One of the things she taught me that it was okay to try again. She was the first adult that I met that has gone back to college, something that I never knew was an option. She introduced me to drag queens Mexican food and Whitney Houston. I in turn, introduced her to the Sanrio characters and to star-nosed moles. My big turned into one of the few adults that I feel like I have a deep connection with. I didn't feel like I walked on eggshells around her and that I had to avoid certain topics. She has helped me through my loneliness, and because of her, I feel more confident and now have the courage to be myself. Big Brothers Big Sisters has changed my life for the better, and I encourage everybody, to become a part of it because it actually works. Having a big helps those struggling with loneliness and shyness by getting you to open up in a low stakes way. My big didn't rush me to try new things or to open up right away. Instead, she encouraged me to open my horizons and join me in trying new things. Signing up for Big Brothers Big Sisters was one of the best decisions I've ever made. My big has helped me grow and has done so much for me that I can't come up with enough words to describe how thankful I am for her. Though what we do in our outings each week may seem small, to me, each one makes a big difference. My big has made me feel less alone in the world and inspires me to make most out of life. For those of you who are considering joining BBBS or is becoming a big, I highly recommend it. These pairings make a big difference, especially for teenagers like myself and young children whose minds are still growing and being molded. For littles, having a big would help them grow and want to become the best versions of themselves. For big, just being there week after week for a little makes a big difference. It may not seem so outwardly, but on the inside it helps so much. More than you can ever imagine. Especially now where social media and the internet makes it easy to feel isolated and alone, it's nice to know there's somebody out there who's there for us and who loves us for who we are.